Hey everybody, it's Ian the Off Kilter Crafter. I hope you're having a great day today. It's time to wrap up everything in my crafty world that happened in June. We are headed into July, which I say every month, how did we get here? But how did we get here to July? It is just flying by. This year is flying by. We're halfway towards Christmas, although I don't want to think about that. Anyways, we're headed towards July 4th, and if I don't say so before it actually happens, happy July 4th to you. Anyways, let's talk about everything that happened in June. In June, I was finally able to finish the quilt top for a quilt that I've been working on for a very long time. I mean, literally years. I've had this image in my head for a quilt that I've wanted to make, but I've been really too afraid to jump in and make it happen, mostly because I didn't quite know how to do all the quilt math for everything that I needed. And it wasn't anything too difficult. It was literally just trying to figure out the negative space and figure out how much fabric I needed for those negative spaces in order to make this all work. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but basically it all started off when I saw and put together this sleeping fox block from Third Story Studios. I'll put a link to her website in the description below so you can go check out her website. But during QuiltCon Together back in 2021, she did this course for how to do FPP, and I knew how to do FPP, but it was a introduction to her version of FPP, which is a little bit different, still very much the same idea, but she was teaching how to not use so much fabric. It still uses a lot of fabric because it's FPP, but started off with this sleeping fox block, and I loved it. And then it just kind of morphed into this idea for making a whole quilt that was based around this sleeping fox in the corner, revealing to a forest and a sky full of stars, and even Aurora Borealis up there. And I had this idea, and I brainstormed this idea, I drew this idea, and I just never really got too far along. I was so anxious to do it, I'll be honest. I was anxious and scared to do it, and I just didn't know what I was doing. So finally, I got some graph paper, I sat down, I figured out the math, and here you go. Here's the final completed quilt. I'm calling it Do Android Foxes Dream of Electric Sheep? Now that's actually a little bit of a takeoff of a quote from Philip K. Dick. It's actually Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, but I figured since the little fox is in there, it kind of has this Android electronic spacey kind of feel to it, and I wanted to reflect that in the name as well. So as you can see, it's got the little sleeping fox with all these really brilliant colors, and I just love how it came out. It gives a very futuristic feel, but still kind of is in a scene that is very reminiscent of more traditional looking, I guess. I love how it came out though, and I can't wait to give it over to my quilter for her to work on for me. Can't wait to see what she does. So be on the lookout for that one in the future once I get it back from my quilter. I haven't even given it to her yet, so still more to come on that one, but be looking for that one in the future, and I can't wait to get that one into some shows. Now, speaking of shows, as many of you know, I've entered my 4-letter word quilt into mini shows. Got a really fun rejection letter last month. This month I got a okay rejection letter. Unfortunately, my quilt was not accepted into the Plano quilt show. I was really hoping it would be, but they have said no, and they actually sent me a check with my refund for my entrance fee. It's a shame that they didn't want it, but hey, they get to make the rules of what they accept and what they don't, so I gotta follow them, and I knew some shows were just not gonna want to have that displayed with all the other quilts, which is fine. They're all able to do whatever they want to do for their own shows. So unfortunately, that brings a total of 2 shows that have said no thanks, and 1 show it's already been in, and it's supposed to be in another show in August. I'm waiting to see if I get a rejection letter from that one, but so far it's going to be in that show, so that'll be 2 no's and 2 shows. Now, a big event that happened this month was getting to spend some really good quality time in Becca's sewing room. She invited me up to hang out with her for a while, so I took the chance and flew up to Virginia and had a blast spending time with Becca and Mary in the crafting room. On Sunday, we just spent the whole day crafting and doing all kinds of crafts too. It wasn't just sewing that we did. She was using the Cricut. They were working on labeling all the bins and drawers for Becca's craft room. It was a lot of fun and I had a blast. It's always great to visit Becca, and I love spending quality time with my friends, or should I say quilty time with my friends. It was a lot of that and I loved it. I just love being in Virginia and DC. We took a little time away from the craft room and took a tour of the Capitol building, which was so amazing. There's so much history there. And our tour guide, Jonathan, was absolutely amazing. He was really funny, but had a lot of great historical knowledge of the Capitol building itself and the history around it. Amazing to see these wonderful pieces of our history and see them in person. I can't wait to go back. I would really like to do a dome tour as well, because you can actually climb up into the dome of the Capitol. That is definitely on the list of things for me to do when I'm up there. Maybe next time, maybe the time after, because there's going to be a lot more visits up there, I'm sure. But it was really great to spend time with Becca's family and Mary and get to see some more national treasures, national history, if you will, up in Washington, D.C. And yes, I will be going back. It's so much fun, and Becca is such a gracious host whenever I am up there. So thank you to Becca, her family. And I also got to see Mary's craft room, which, wow, she's got like the craft room of craft rooms. Becca's is amazing. Mary's is amazing. Mine needs some work, but I'm in an apartment, so it doesn't really count. But anyways, all that being said, we had a blast. And while I was there, Becca designed some quilted postcard designs, and you can download them. There is a free Pride Progress flag, and you can check that out down in the description of this video. It is a free download for you to download and create. It's a 5x7 block, so you can not only make a postcard out of it, but you could also use it for other applications. So if you wanted to incorporate it in a quilt, or if you wanted to put it somewhere, you can use that as your template to create a 5x7 and then either create the postcard or do lots of things you can do with it. She's also created some really fun postcards. There's spools of thread, there's a sewing machine, and then there is a hi, so you can literally send a quilted hi to your best quilty friend. And like I said, the Progress Pride flag is free, and then the other downloads are going to be $3, and lots of fun can be had with those postcards, so go check that out. Again, the link is down in the description below. Now, a quick funny story. As many of you know, I live here in Texas, which seems like it has severe weather year-round, and when I was visiting Becca, her husband, and her daughter, we all went out to eat. We had hot pot, and we were sitting in the restaurant enjoying our hot pot when suddenly a severe storm came through. Of course, everybody at the table looked at me and was like, "You brought this weather," jokingly, of course. And we're all sitting there and we're like, "Oh, it's a lot of rain." And then it started to hail. Yep. Hail. There was pea-sized hail that was falling, and apparently this area doesn't get very much of that, because everybody in the restaurant was kind of looking at it and going, "Oh wow, like we don't see this very often." They were taking pictures of it, video of it, and I was like, this is kind of a like more than yearly thing that happens for us, but okay, cool. It's interesting, right? So we're sitting there having a meal, enjoying it. The hail is happening, but it's not getting any bigger, so that's good. And then the fire alarm goes off. I don't know what happened. Some water must have gotten into the electrical system. I don't know, but the fire alarm starts going off, and we're all kind of sitting there going, okay. And I ended up putting some paper towels in my ears because it was just so loud as they were all going off. So funny, and it's going to be a core memory from this point forward, and I can't wait to keep reminding Becca of when that happened. Hey, remember that time we went to Hot Pot and the fire alarms were going off? It was a funny day. Oh, I almost forgot. We also got to meet Donna for dinner one night. We went out and had crabs, and it was wonderful to meet Donna in person. I'm going to go ahead and put a link to Donna's channel down in the description below. She is Handmade by Ying with Donna. It was great to finally meet her in person after seeing her virtually for years now. It's so great to meet her in person, and it was a blast to hang out with her and have everybody around, and just, we were all silly and goofy. It was just a great time. So yeah, lots of fun, ice cream, dinner, friends, crafting. It was just a blast. Also, I should mention I worked on the Puzzle Mystery Quilt Clue for Village Green this month, and we are getting ready to start Carnival next month. Signups are still available, so make sure to jump over there. If you want to sign up for Carnival, do it now because they could be closing very soon. The last thing I want to mention today was I think I've been copied. I'm not 100% sure, and I don't have any evidence other than this picture that I found on Facebook. I was literally scrolling through my Facebook timeline, and I came across something that looked oddly familiar. In fact, a little too familiar if you ask me. I'm gonna leave it up to you and your thoughts. I found this ad. It is for I think it's like they're selling a silhouette template of some kind. And it looked oddly familiar because this is the quilt that I made. I made this one, and the one that I scrolled past on my Facebook feed is this one. They look pretty similar if you ask me. Now, I don't have any copyright and I don't have any way to prove anything, nor should I. It is a copy, and honestly, there is no way that I could prevent that, nor should I. There's no reason for me to want to prevent that. But it just seems kind of odd to be scrolling through Facebook and being like, wait, isn't that mine? I digress though, it doesn't matter, and I'm not upset about it. In fact, I think it's a little cool that my design inspired somebody else to create something very similar. But I want to hear your opinion down in the comments below. Let me know, do you think that they ended up copying my design, or do you think they somehow also came upon it organically? So that's the wrap up for June. It doesn't feel like I did a lot, but also I was traveling a lot, and there are a couple other projects going on behind the scenes that I am excited about. And I did forget to mention, I worked with my quilter on getting my Color Vortex quilted. Still cannot wait to see what that one looks like when it comes back, hopefully soon. Anyways, that's the wrap up for June, and we're heading into July. I need to start packing pretty soon because I'm going to be heading up to Oregon for the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show, and my quilt is there. I have got the confirmation that they have received it. Cannot wait to see that quilt hanging in the show. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for today. Remember, normal is just a setting on the dryer. I'll see you next month. Bye, everyone.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.